Star City News.
The death penalty makes it to the floor of the legislature.
Downtown Lincoln is a food desert.
And an Oklahoma fraternity makes national headlines over a racist chant.
This news and more coming at you now, live at 5.
This is Star City News, live at 5.
Welcome to Star City News. I'm Ingrid Holmquist.
And I'm Doug Lowry. The fallout from a racist chant at the University of Oklahoma continues today. 2 members of the fraternity who may have led the chant were suspended this morning.
Star City's Brent Von Floor is live with a pulse on the local reaction.
I've been on campus all day speaking to everyone from the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs to activist groups, and I even caught up with a student at the University of Oklahoma, and she says the situation on campus is still very tense.
There'll never be there'll never be you hang from a tree, but it'll never stop with me. There'll never be.
It's just kind of upsetting to see that people still stoop to these levels, even though it's not surprising.
Sophomore Justin Wheeler is one of many UNL students still reacting to that racist chant. He spent the day talking to his cousin Aaliyah, a sophomore at the University of Oklahoma. She blogged about her experience on campus.
There's still a lot of tension, a lot of arguments going on, a lot of hurt feelings, so we'll see what happens.
Director of the Office of Academic Success and Intercultural Services, Andre Fortune, says education in cases like this is crucial, and that the punishments handed down in Oklahoma may not have fit the crime.
I think that suspension alone is definitely not enough, whether it be in this case or in any other situation.
UNL has had its own problems with racism in the past.
You know, it could happen anywhere, and I think if anybody thinks that it can't happen where they are, is basically fooling themselves.
The N-word was written on a sidewalk outside a UNL fraternity last year. That same year, a student used the word in a debate.
Right thing.
Professor Michael Combs has been teaching political science at UNL for more than 25 years.
It undermines the efforts that many universities, and I would say it undermines the effort that this nation is trying to put forth.
Combs says he thinks the action by the University of Oklahoma is commendable, but it's not an end-all solution.
Racism is not eliminated by proclamation, but rather racism is tackled and wrestled with by ideas.
Now, this is the house where the N-word was written outside on the sidewalk, and I tried multiple times today to get in contact with the president over at UNL's SAE chapter, but couldn't reach him or any other members for comment. Reporting live for Star City News, I'm Brent Von Floor.
Thanks, Brent. Gun ownership in the United States is lower than ever. According to a survey on American Trends, 32% of people have guns in their households. This is a record low since 2010, tied with the same percentage. This is a significant number, seeing as in the late 1970s, almost half of polled Americans said they had firearms in their household. Some say this number can be attributed to fewer people taking up hunting.
A filibuster is currently taking place in the Nebraska legislature. Republicans are looking to change the law regarding Nebraska's electoral college by making Nebraska a winner-take-all state again. Democrats are trying to keep Nebraska a congressional district method voting system in which 3 of the 5 votes go with each individual district. Nebraska and Maine are the only 2 states in the union that vote by the congressional district method. The only time this method has factored into an election was 2008, when the Omaha district voted for Barack Obama.
Downtown Lincoln is a classified food desert. Star City reporter Kelsey Murphy has the story.
I'm standing in downtown Lincoln, and it's not hard to find somewhere to eat. But what some people are looking for, you won't find on menus like these. Siri, how far away is the closest Super Saver?
Super Saver is about 2 miles away.
This is how far Yanni Arango has to travel to buy fresh food, but she does not have a car.
I was gonna get guava juice because this is our favorite.
This 2-mile trip takes over 40 minutes for some UNL students to walk. Yanni says that's just too far.
I guess I just asked some of my friends for a ride or take the bus.
It's a hassle, but it has to be done. The U.S. Department of Agriculture considers UNL's campus a food desert, an area that does not have access to a grocery store within a mile, turning students to places like this, a campus convenience store, or eating out. Since 2010, more than 50 restaurants open downtown. None of them offer what a grocery store can.
I get vegetables and fruit, like whole wheat bread.
It affects more than just students. 3,000 people live downtown and want a store, but that's not enough.
So the key is you need a certain amount of residents, especially for a full service grocery store. Typically the number we've heard is having about 10,000 residents.
The Downtown Lincoln Association expects that number to grow.
We're getting closer, so we've doubled the amount of residents, which is going to double the amount of attention needed for a grocery store to really want to locate in the center of our city.
For now, this is as good as grocery shopping gets. Directors of the Downtown Lincoln Association predict that by 2020, Lincoln will see a grocery store downtown. Reporting for Star City News, I'm Kelsey Murphy.
Thanks, Kelsey. It looks like downtown residents may have to wait until a grocery store is more accessible. Coming up, the Nebraska legislature has voted unanimously to move a controversial bill to the floor.
Find out more after the break. Welcome back to Star City News. 3 Lincoln organizations will work to help keep inmates out of prison for good after they are released. The Center for People in Need, Released and Restored, Inc., and the Mental Health Association of Nebraska are 3 of 8 organizations that will receive grants to train felons skills that can help them maintain meaningful employment once released from prison. In all, Nebraska is allocating $6.2 million to 8 organizations that will teach these men and women employable skills such as operating a forklift, working in a kitchen, and construction, as well as help prepare them for job interviews and making a resume. Officials are hoping that these programs can make the transition from incarceration to civilian life easier for inmates. A bill proposed by Senator Ernie Chambers would take the shackles off of juvenile offenders. Quite literally, juvenile lawyers and advocates say offenders as young as 10 years old are brought into court and shackled during court appearances. They claim that not only does this practice psychologically damage children, it affects their courtroom behavior. No action has been taken on the bill as of yet.
The legislature may be closer than ever before to eliminating the death penalty in Nebraska.
Star City's Dustin Hoffman is live in the newsroom with more.
The death penalty has been a hot-button topic across Nebraska. Yesterday, a unanimous vote may help repeal this capital punishment. Since 1976, 3 people have been executed in Nebraska and a total of 37 in its history. In 2008, the Supreme Court declared electrocution to be cruel and unusual punishment. The following year, Nebraska adopted the lethal injection method. State Senator Ernie Chambers has been fighting for the advancement of this bill for years.
I don't think the state should kill anybody for any reason whatsoever, no matter who the victim is, no matter who the perpetrator is, no matter how vicious the crime itself was. As a society becomes more civilized, it should do away with barbaric punishments, and the state should never take the life of anybody.
Senator Chambers wasn't available for an in-person interview due to his hectic schedule. But he said if the bill passes, the next stage will replace lethal injection with life in prison.
No actual activity is going on. The cost of maintaining the death penalty continues to mount up.
Dustin, I was trying to remember the last time we had an execution here. Can you tell us when the last time Nebraska actually used the death penalty?
Yes, Ingrid, the last time Nebraska used the death penalty was almost 20 years ago for Robert Williams. That's all for Live in the Newsroom. I'm Dustin Hoffman for Star City News.
Thanks, Dustin. In international news today, a congressional letter is stirring Iran controversy in Washington. 47 Republican senators wrote a letter to the Iranian president to negotiate an agreement regarding Iran's nuclear program. Many are saying this was not the job of a group of senators and undermines the president. Iran's foreign minister dismissed the letter as a propaganda ploy. We spoke with Kevin Smith, a University of Nebraska-Lincoln professor of political science, about this issue.
The Senate injecting itself like this is very unusual, and I think that may confuse some people who are not in the United States, in the sense of, like, do we negotiate with the president or do we negotiate with somebody else?
10 people died in a helicopter crash yesterday in the hills of La Rioja, Argentina. The two colliding helicopters held 8 French passengers and 2 Argentinian pilots. All of the passengers were involved in the reality survival TV show Dropped, which places famous athletes into harsh environments. The people in the crash included former Olympians and crew members of the show. Police and firefighters are still trying to recover the victims' bodies. Ireland accidentally legalized ecstasy, ketamine, and crystal meth for one day only.
An accidental loophole in the law was exposed after Ireland's 1977 Misuse of Drugs Act was deemed unconstitutional in the Irish Court of Appeals.
After the ruling, the previously prohibited drugs became legal. The Irish government is now working to quickly fix that loophole. However, the accident cannot officially be fixed until 12 a.m. on Thursday at the earliest. Before we go to break, let's see what weather reporter Audra Moore has to say about this beautiful day.
The saying goes that March comes in like a lion and out like a lamb. But this year, I think we may have started with the lamb based on these beautiful temperatures today. Our highs have been well above our average temperatures, and they seem to stay that way for about the next week, maybe even a little bit longer, which is perfect for opening day of Husker baseball at Hawks Field. So perfect that if you wanted to take someone out to the ball game, today would be that day. For Star City Weather, I'm Audra Moore. Emily Lockenmeyer will have your full forecast after the break.
And now, a look at the forecast with Star City Weather.
Well, after our long cold spell we've been having, we can finally relax and have some nice temperatures. Looking at our current temperatures outside here in the capital city, 68 degrees and sunny. Some slight wind there, but not varying our temperatures very much. Looking into tomorrow, or our almanac here, we have our high temperature for the day well above our average high temperatures for this time of year, and just under that record high temperature that we set back in 2014. Other than that, our low temperatures are just around average, so we're staying in our zone there. Looking at the temperatures across the state here, 67 up in Valentine, 69 in North Platte, and 68 in Hill City. And as we head out east, you have 66 in Omaha, 65 up in Sioux City. So as you can see, we have those upper 60s, 70 temperatures across the state. If we look at our satellite imagery here, no clouds over Nebraska. It led to those clear skies and those warm temperatures today, but we do have this band of clouds running along the southern portion of the United States, bringing in some rain and stormy conditions there, especially down in that Ohio River Valley area. If we look into tonight's temperatures, 35 degrees and clear. Those winds will calm down and be very minor. Looking into tomorrow's, 73 degrees and sunny. Southeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. We'll start out at 40 degrees come 9 a.m., warm up to that high temperature come 3 p.m., and then as we head into 6 p.m., 68 degrees there. If we look at our week ahead, 70s into Thursday, and as we head into Friday and the rest of our weekend, we'll have those 60 temperatures, 60 come Saturday, 68 come Sunday, and then as we head into next work week, 68 degrees and 64 on Tuesday. So it's looking like a very nice outlook, so make sure you're getting out and enjoying those temperatures. Back to you, Doug and Ingrid.
Thanks, Emily. Sounds like my kind of weather. Doug, what are you doing? We're back.
Oh, I've just been trying to keep up with all the NFL free agency stuff, but I guess we should send it over to Michael Shively with sports.
Thanks, guys. Like the weather people talked about earlier, it's beautiful outside today, which made for a perfect atmosphere for the Huskers' home opening baseball game. Nebraska hosted Northern Colorado and got off to a fast start with a Blake Headley triple down the right field line. Headley's triple scored Ryan Bolt and Jake Schleppenbach. Headley then scored on a throwing error, making it 3-0 Huskers. In the second inning, Nebraska kept piling on the runs, putting up 4. 2 of those scored on an Austin Darby double. Husker pitcher Garrett King did his part too, allowing only 1 run on 3 hits in 4 innings pitched. The Huskers ended up winning the contest 9-3 to improve to 8-6 on the season. NFL teams were officially able to sign free agents today at 3 o'clock, and some big deals have already happened. Tight end Jimmy Graham was traded to the Seattle Seahawks, defensive tackle Haloti Ngata went to the Detroit Lions, and wide receiver Torrey Smith signed with the 49ers. Defensive tackle and former Husker Ndamukong Suh is expected to sign the biggest contract of free agency for a reported 6 years and $114 million with the Miami Dolphins. In college football, one of the top returning quarterbacks was assaulted yesterday on spring break. Mississippi State senior Dak Prescott and teammates Damian Williams and Torrey Dale were trying to enjoy a sunny spring break in Panama City Beach when they were attacked. A Mississippi State spokesman said the three were jumped and Prescott took the brunt of it, suffering multiple lacerations and facial cuts. However, Prescott tweeted last night that he is okay and excited for spring football. Prescott threw for nearly 3,500 yards and ran for 1,000 in 2014. Spring practice begins for the Bulldogs on March 18th. Nebraska men's basketball is heading to Spain. The team announced today they will be playing a series of exhibition games in Spain in August. The Husker volleyball and women's basketball teams have gone abroad for games the last couple of years, but this is a first for a Tim Miles-led team. The 2015 Huskers will likely finish their season in the Big Ten tournament this week. The Huskers play Penn State tomorrow at 3:30 in the first round. That's all in the world of sports. Now back to Doug and Ingrid.
Thanks, Michael. Hey, Doug, you strike me as a Ben Stiller fan, am I right?
I'm actually a really big fan of one of his more recent movies, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Oh, okay, I haven't seen that one. Have you seen Zoolander by chance?
I haven't.
You haven't, Doug? It is so good.
I know.
It's hilarious.
I know.
Okay, well, because it is so hilarious, they're making a sequel. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Well, we have our reporter David Gass to tell us more about that and other entertainment stories.
Unless you've been hiding under a rock, you've definitely heard about the derogatory chant from the SAE chapter at Oklahoma University. Their charter has been revoked. 2 students were expelled, and the university president made it clear that the campus wanted nothing to do with the fraternity after a video surfaced showing members chanting that they would not allow African American members to join their brotherhood. Repercussions didn't stop there. Hip-hop recording artist Waka Flocka canceled the upcoming concert at the university, claiming that he was disappointed and would not tolerate racism. On top of that, the university also lost a 4-star recruit. John DeLance announced on his Twitter that he is decommitting from Oklahoma, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was more to come. One of your favorite movies will be returning to theaters. Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson hit the Valentino runway earlier today as part of the Paris Fashion Week. The stunt was all part of their ploy to announce the follow-up to their 2001 film, Zoolander 2. The co-stars hit the catwalk rocking custom butterfly brocade and silk continent pajama suits. Needless to say, they stole the show. The second installment of Zoolander will focus on how much the modeling world has changed since Zoolander and his nemesis Hansel fought for the catwalk. The film is scheduled to hit theaters February of 2016. Speaking of stealing the show, check out this video of Ryan Gosling. Footage of him impersonating Elvis as a middle school student recently surfaced and has the ladies going nuts. Well, that's all I have for you today. Join us next Thursday for your daily dose of entertainment here on Star City News. This has been David Gass reporting.
Thanks, David.
Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! There's something weird, and it don't look good. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters!
Welcome back to Star City News.
Ingrid, are you voting in the ASUN election this year?
Yeah, of course I vote every single year, but I'm actually kind of not as well versed on the parties this year, unfortunately. But I hear that our own John Kipper has more with the news today.
In case you didn't know, Election Day hits UNL tomorrow. The two parties running Empower and Launch are vying for political control of the UNL student government. One of the parties is Empower. They have a very broad platform with goals ranging from sexual assault prevention, supporting UNL military members in a better way. One major platform item sticks out for their presidential candidate. That issue is diversity within the ASUN.
Diversity and inclusion within the ASUN student government, and we're not talking about going out and picking people just because they're from a certain group. We're talking about making ASUN's network and reach a lot wider so that people know that they have this opportunity to join student government and to make a difference.
The Empower Party has been criticized for having too broad of a platform. Chow thinks that having these lofty goals is actually a plus.
I think lofty is actually a good word for it, though. These are lofty ideals. You know, these are things we should strive for. They're going to be hard to do. That's why these are lofty goals. But just because something's hard to do doesn't mean we're not going to try, right? And you know, we do have a lot of specific projects as well.
The Launch Party is the party fighting against Empower. The underdog in the race also has a wide-ranging platform. They want to get a lot done if they do win, but one of the biggest things they'll do is create an advisory board to work with the UNLPD. The presidential candidate also thinks student fees need to be more transparent.
Is that we'd create like a visual hub, ideally a website, and it'd be like linked to your MyRed pages, a lot of different websites. So it'd be like a pie chart, and then it'd be like this one here, this one here, this one here. You click on a section and it breaks down like the individual projects, and it's just a lot more detailed.
Pesto also thinks that East Campus needs to catch up with their city counterpart in one particular area.
They're lacking in technology over there, so that's one of our big things is getting classrooms up to date. They're using overhead projectors still, so we're hoping to get like real projectors and get things up to par over there.
While the parties have their differences, they both agree that the stigma around campus about mental health simply needs to change. Both sides think getting Husker athletes to raise awareness would vastly help the issue. That's going to do it for me in U News. Now back to Doug and Ingrid.
Thanks, John. Remember, UNL students, voting starts tomorrow, and don't forget your chance to cast your ballot.
Up next, reporter Devin has your social media updates for the day.
Social media is loaded with trending topics today, and none bigger than the Republicans that are under fire on Twitter after sending a letter that was signed by 47 Republicans to Iran, telling them to not make any deals with Barack Obama on nuclear power because it could be overturned when he leaves office. People from across the country are tweeting using the hashtag 47traitors about 47 of these Senate GOP members going behind President Obama's back. Political Nerd and Livable World tweets were just two of thousands rolling across Twitter feeds, and it continues to be the hottest topic on social media. Sony Pictures announced today that the 1984 classic comedy Ghostbusters is going to be making its way back to the big screen with an all-male cast. This decision is coming just before production is set to begin in June for an all-female reboot of Ghostbusters featuring Bridesmaid stars Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy, and Saturday Night Live's Leslie Jones and Kate McKinnon. The question is, Channing Tatum could be the one that answers his phone when you ask who's going to call. And Dan Aykroyd, along with Ivan Reitman, is assembling a team, the Russo brothers. Tatum and a few of Tatum's partners, the first reboot is set to be in theaters in June 2016. As many of you remember, just like myself, The Simpsons was the hit show for us as kids. As the longest running sitcom in American television history, its creation was due to a man that passed away on Sunday. Sam Simon was battling colon cancer for a while. Simpson fans have taken to social media to continue to give their respects to a man alongside Matt Groening and James L. Brooks to create one of the best shows ever. He left after 4 seasons of The Simpsons, but continued to make money off the series. Simon died on Sunday at the age of 59. For more on today's stories, follow us on Twitter at Star City News 2015, and I'm Devin Cleach. Let's send it back to Ingrid and Doug.
That's all we have for today. Thanks for watching Star City News.